Most people try getting lean for the summer, but they end up looking skinny, weak, or even worse. I'm gonna show you guys exactly how you can get lean this summer and still look strong and show that physique off when you're at the beach. In today's video, we are going to be going over how to get lean for summer, specifically without losing that muscle you worked so hard for during that winter. Before we get into the video, guys, I am a certified personal trainer and nutritional coach, and I do in-person personal training as well as online coaching. If you are interested in online coaching or even workout plans, I have them on my website at zachluchh.com. There you can book a 30-minute phone call with me to see how I can best help you reach your goals, or if you're just looking for a workout plan, whether that's beginner, intermediate, for strength, or for muscle size, I do have those programs on my website as well. If you want to see more of me, kind of more of my personality or my lifts or my video editing, I have my both Instagram and TikTok right here. Instagram is zachluchh, and then my TikTok is zachluchh with 2 H's. There you'll find more of my videos. I post multiple times throughout the day. So if you want to see more of me, be sure to check those out. And if you're interested in coaching or workout plans, go look at my website for more information on that. Without further ado, let's get into the video. First thing you need to be doing if you want to be leaner for the summer is be in a caloric deficit. What does this mean? This means firstly that we are dropping our calories or our caloric intake, right? This just basically means that we need to be eating less calories or less overall food than our body burns. No, we don't need to starve ourselves, guys. We just need to control our caloric deficit and how many calories we're dropping each day. And it's as simple as this, guys. If you are not in a deficit, you cannot expect to get lean. That is the sole driver of losing body weight or body fat. So you need to be in a caloric deficit. And like I kind of mentioned, guys, you do not want to be starving yourself. We don't want to be doing an aggressive cut. All you got to do is drop your calories around 300 to 500 each day, and that will put your body in a caloric deficit. And then from there, you can take away more or take away less if you're losing weight too quickly or just not losing weight fast enough. And it's also important to note, guys, consistency will always beat perfection, right? We don't have to be perfect. We just have to be consistent. There's going to be some days that maybe we're not in our deficit, but the rule of thumb is that we are consistent week by week, month by month to make sure that we are lean for the summer. I always recommend weighing yourself every single morning because that is your true body weight right after you go to the bathroom in the morning, preferably in underwear or naked. But that's going to be your true body weight. And then from there, if you're weighing yourself every day, you can drop calories more or drop calories less, like I said, depending on if you're not losing enough weight or if you're losing too much weight too quickly, right? Because we don't want to be losing weight too quickly, but we also want to make sure we're in enough deficit where we can lose that excess body fat, burn that body fat, so that we are lean by summer. Now, as we previously just talked about, we need to be in a caloric deficit to lose weight, right? That is the main point. That is what is the foundation of everything in terms of weight loss. However, we want to make sure we're eating a lot of protein or an adequate amount of protein for our body, aka just having a high protein diet. And this is where a lot of times people mess up, guys, because they're in a caloric deficit. So they're not really focused on eating a lot or eating in abundance or an adequate amount of protein. So they start cutting their protein, right? And then that's when they start losing that muscle that you worked so hard for during that winter to look good in the summer. If you don't eat enough protein, you are simply going to lose muscle while you lose weight. And it's not that we need to eat 300 grams of protein if we weigh 200 pounds, or if we're trying to get from 200 to 180, that we need to eat 350 grams of protein. No, the simple rule of thumb is that we want to eat 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So guys, if I'm 220 pounds, I'm going to eat around 220 grams of protein, right? I can't do the math for 0.8, but you get the idea. That's probably around 200 to 220 grams. So that's just foundation, the basis of how much protein you want to eat when you're trying to be in a cut, but not making sure you're not losing that muscle. This is because, right, that will keep that muscle, right, that we just worked so hard for, and it will also help keep you full. This is important because if we are in a caloric deficit, our body is going to be craving that food that we're normally used to eating. However, we're in that deficit, we're going to feel that hunger, right? But protein, right, it takes longer to digest. It's more energy for your body to digest, and it helps keep you satiated or full. So simple rule of thumb, guys, keep your protein high and aim for that 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. The third point we're going to talk about is lifting heavy, specifically strength training. This is the difference, guys, between looking skinny and looking lean. You need to lift weights if you want to retain that muscle and look good for the summer. And I'm not talking about just going to the gym and doing a bunch of sets of just light weight to get a pump. I'm talking about heavy training, high intensity training, heavy compound lift training. So this includes things like squat, bench, deadlift. You can even go as far to say also RDLs, right? That's an L. Shoulder press, right? Just even barbell shoulder press, leg press, right? We can go on and on. Mainly these three, right? We want to be doing compound lifts, but also stuff like this, compound lifts too. That's all heavy, intense resistance training. And the reason why we want to keep our intensity high and make sure we're heavy weightlifting while we are in a cut is because our body needs a reason to hold on to that muscle. Basically, your body keeps the muscle that it needs. So if we stop heavy resistance training, our body's going to be like, oh, wait a minute, we don't need all this excess muscle because we're not moving heavy weight anymore. Let's go ahead and start burning that for energy because we are in a caloric deficit. And that's when you start getting the problem of losing all that muscle and starting to look skinny instead of lean when you're walking at the beach and you're wondering what went wrong. The next point we're going to talk about is just daily movement, guys, and that includes activity like steps and then cardio as well. And we're not prepping for a bodybuilding show, guys. We don't need to kill ourselves with doing cardio multiple times a day for an hour-long sessions, right? But we are just trying to get lean, and having cardio and watching our step count is going to be a big factor and something that helps us a lot. And one of the reasons for that, guys, specifically steps are one of the easiest ways to burn calories without fatiguing yourself too much or hindering your recovery. It's as simple as aiming for around 8,000 to 12,000 steps per day. And then you can throw in optional cardio, 20 to 30 minutes. And that can be done twice a week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week, whatever you want to do. And the goal is not to burn yourself out with doing cardio, guys. Cardio is a tool to help us with weight loss, but it's not something that is going to cover it, right? Caloric deficit is going to cover it. And if you have cut before, you know how hard it is, especially when you get weeks and weeks and weeks into a cut, how low your calories can get. If we keep our daily movement or our activity level high, we're going to be able to eat a lot more while still burning that body fat because we are just increasing our activity, right? We're not being sedentary, we're living an active lifestyle. So just doing things like watching your step count and doing cardio a couple times a week can greatly benefit your weight loss process and making it easier because you're able to eat a lot more and then still being able to drop that body fat. Now, if you've watched my videos before, you know how much I preach recovery, specifically sleep. If your sleep is trash, your fat loss will be too. Bad sleep, guys, if we have poor sleep, we're gonna have worse hormones. We're gonna have more cravings. And then that's gonna just equal to less overall recovery. We wanna aim for around 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. And this is also great because if we get our 7 to 9 hours every night, we're gonna have lower or less overall stress too. And our body is also gonna be already in a stressful state if it's losing weight, burning calories like that. So just making sure we're doing everything to regulate and monitor our stress as best as possible is going to greatly help us too. And it's really that simple, guys. What we just talked about is all you need to focus on to burn that excess body fat so you're lean by summer. But what shouldn't you do, right? Because a lot of people get this wrong and that's how they end up looking skinny, losing all that hard worked muscle and then look terrible for summer. You don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like that. So let's talk about now what not to do so you don't make these mistakes. The first thing is going to be starve yourself or starving yourself. Right? We want to be in a caloric deficit, a slight caloric deficit. We can make that deficit greater as weeks and months go on into the cut, but we do not want to be starving ourselves. Number 2 is only doing cardio. You don't want to be that person that's only doing cardio to cut, right? Cardio is a tool, like we mentioned. It's not something that's going to be the main factor when having weight loss, but you don't want to be someone who's only doing cardio because you're going to lose all that hard worked muscle and it's not going to be good, right? And if we burn calories during cardio and we go home and we're not in a caloric deficit and we just eat what we just burned, guess what? That's not going to do anything for us. So we need to make sure we're not only doing cardio, we use it as a tool a couple times a week, but step count is what is important. And then contrary to that is we stop lifting, right? Don't stop lifting, guys. That is so crucial. We want to make sure we're still heavy resistance training, because if our body has no reason to hold on to this muscle, it's going to burn it too. So we need to make sure we're lifting hard and heavy and intensely, and we're not stopping our resistance training. And then number 4, right? Protein. Not eating enough protein. We need to make sure we're eating enough protein, because protein contains amino acids, which are the building blocks for muscle. So if we are not eating adequate amounts of protein every single day, our body's going to lose that muscle. So we need to make sure we're not starving ourselves. We need to make sure that we're not only doing cardio, but we use it as a tool optionally. We need to make sure we're not stopping our resistance training or heavy weight lifting. And we need to make sure we're not eating too little of protein. Guys, getting lean is not complicated. It just takes discipline. Do this right, guys, and you're going to look stronger, leaner, and completely different, and have everyone at the beach being like, holy moly, look at that guy go. He's so lean. He definitely watched Zachluch's video on how to cut properly. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Kind of a short and sweet video, I think. I don't know, I haven't edited yet, but it shouldn't be too long. But, right, it's just the foundation, the basics of how to get lean. It's May right now. It's the beginning of May. Summer is around the corner, if it's not summer already. Either way, the days of the beach are soon. The days with your shirt off outside are soon. So let's get you right. Let's get you lean, but make sure you're not losing that muscle for summer. And like always, drop a like, drop a comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers, and even just saying that is completely surreal to me, to even say that I'm close to 10,000 subscribers. We're about 1,500 away or so, but it's approaching and it's gonna happen. So I'm super excited and super stoked. Please subscribe if you haven't. It means the absolute world. If you guys have any other questions or comments about this video or topic, leave them in the comments below, and I'll be sure to respond to you as soon as possible. And then, like always, if you have other video ideas you want me to do, drop them in the comments below too, and I'll try to make a video on them as soon as possible as well. Guys, if you want a full plan, workouts, diets, everything laid out for you, drop a comment on this video or hit me up on Instagram, and I'll be sure to help you write a plan. That way you're looking shredded, lean, and awesome for summer when you have your shirt off at the beach or at the pool, and everyone's like, wow, look at that guy go. Thank you guys so much for watching again. I'll see you guys in the next video. God bless you all, and yeah, that's all I got for you.